We have Christmas trees too. I don't think they're native, but we call them our solo Christmas trees. And they used to line the main street. Ironically, I think they might have been planted by the British, but they used to line the main road but there's still a few left in the capital.
What kind of Christmas trees?
Oh, they're like bright orange. I'll post a picture.
Give me some celebration kai from Solomon Islands. Real special kai.
You know what would be really cool? If all the peoples out there shed some pics of the kind of kais that they like.
Special occasion.
Yeah, like the things that are most special to them.
Saved up for a really special feast.
Yeah. And why? Like, what is the thing? What are you guys going to make?
It's really hard to make a decision. Really hard to make that decision. I feel like we have to have Tuaki in there somewhere because we're in Ōtepoti and it is the kai that we're most famous for. And being someone who's come from cooking for a living,
oh yeah,
I'm heavily influenced by other cultures, Italian, French, that I've learnt to cook. But the common ingredient across the board for a winning spread is fresh. This is on hand.
You know what we used to do in our umus? Pumpkin, strip out the middle of it, and then corned beef and onion and...
Wasn't too salty?
Oh no, like would flavour the whole thing.
Yeah.
And silver beet and coconut.
I watched someone do that.
Yeah,
and they had whole fish.
But because we're here,
yeah.
So we make it slightly different. So we would normally in the islands use massive banana leaves to wrap everything, and then or taro leaves are really good for that too.
They're heart shaped. No, they're not. They're like kind of go blur.
They're massive. They're massive. They're kind of, they're kind of heart shaped. But yeah, you'd wrap everything. But here we don't have that, so it'd be wrapped in foil, and then you put it in the bee. Like, so everything's stacked. So the things that are that you want cooked the most at the bottom, because that's where the heat is the most, and then whatever, like, so your fish would be up higher, your pumpkin would be up higher because it just gets too soft and mushy.
Same for hangi.
Yeah, layered.
Interesting. Gotta watch that the bum doesn't get burnt though, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's also about layers of leaves or tinfoil.
I guess that's why we use cabbage now because it grows really easily here and it's
same thing, right?
An inexpensive way to get.
Well, it's easy for food that's plentiful.
I'm not keen on something that's been sulfuric.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
I mean,
we should embrace change a little bit, like a little bit of variation.
And I think, these days, to be honest, I haven't made one in ages here because we have to do things like get fire permits and stuff like that. So the reality of making them like we used to is kind of different.
Worth it though. All the effort that goes into it and, nailing it, getting it right. Obviously that takes practice. Yeah, and I'm not against perpetuating tradition either. I think it's really important that we hand on the knowledge in a way that, and then each exponent of it in their generation has their own little way. That guy was famous for doing it that way, and that guy was famous.
Oh, and like so for us, like how I told you, we had our hangi and our umus, like day after day, or we might have a special occasion, and then all our family from next door would come over, or they'd have a special occasion, we'd go over there. So lots of things that we adapted for a New Zealand climate, we learnt from our Māori whānau. Right?
But you're bringing your traditions with you from the islands.
but we still had similar traditions.
Just
and
what
similar,
our ancestors did.
Yeah,
all of our ancestors, all of them.
Yeah.
Like my favourite potato, agrias.
Really?
Lots of flavour, can do lots of...
Yeah, it's versatile and long.
Yeah.
So the perfect McDonald's potato.
It just doesn't fail.
I'm kumara all the way.
Yeah.
I love kumara. All the kinds.
So we got there's four on the market at the moment.
Are there?
Yeah.
Orange, red.
So your classic
purple
skinned but cream fleshed.
Yeah.
Yep.
The golden one, the orange one, and the purple one. And the purple one's really sweet.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have all the same ones in the islands, but I'm not sure how long they've been there. Like whether it's something that, because I don't remember having lots of kinds when I was little. Like in New Zealand, we always had the
red-skinned one?
Yeah, the red-skinned one when I was a kid. That was the one that was, But these days in the islands, like, we've got heaps of different kinds.
Do you know about...
if you go back to the Peruvian diet, they've got hundreds. Anyway, we kind of think of European potato, which we know is the Spanish brought from Central America. No, Irish potato. Central American by origin, and then there's our sweet potato, also genetically been proven to be Central American in origin, and we know that our peeps were sailing back and forth. So the one that you buy off the back of a truck in Japan is also the same one, has come with all that voyaging.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, because with also agricultural teaching backwards and forwards across the islands in recent years, in the last 50 years, I can think of an uncle who has now passed, but he was quite keen on teaching everyone, and he would bring in new knowledge to teach, and I suspect plants as well from other places. So.
Yeah, there's not quite the same restriction today. We have these incredible border controls, but up until just after the Second World War, plants moved freely around the world.
Yeah, that's right.
But that diet of Central America of so many different kinds of potato, that ones that we wouldn't recognise, long mountain potatoes, and that they're getting vast majority of their nutrition, that what your body needs to metabolise correctly from potatoes.
Because the question was about the Māori potatoes. Do you know much about those?
So the little purple ones, and same. I think they're kind of that heritage stuff that it's coming in with the really early settlers. Right, we
and
need to
flour.
In fact, how about I'll do that research and we can share the link about that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
and flour.
Flour?
Yeah.
Ground wheat?
Yeah. When did that start?
When we got mills.
Yeah.
With the settlers.
I was going to say, because that's not really a thing that's big for us. Lies. Traditionally hasn't been, when I say traditionally, in my lifetime, with my grannies and my older aunties, flour was not a thing that was used on a regular basis. These days, you'll see people making things like donuts. We call them ring cakes.
Because they are.
Yeah, but they're not as sweet. So they don't have, they're basically, often they'll be...
Like fry bread?
Yeah, like fry bread.
You have to add the sweetness to that, don't you?
Yeah. They're just like fry bread, actually.
So it's not, fry bread's not always soft and pillowy. Sometimes it's chewy and...
I'm going to have to make ring cakes for our picnic.
The Aunties talk representation, Jason Momoa and his haka performance.
Also, you wouldn't put the newbie in the front row. The newbie is in the back row. No, so they can kind of hide behind somebody who...
But it's also about the elders, right?
Yes.
You don't put the young'uns leading.
So the argument might be, to counter that he's the star of the show, so he's front and centre. Yeah, but... We come from a culture of collectively representing that mana rather than the individual. You go.
No, and that's very Pasifika as far as
it's Hollywood. But also, even though there's the seemingly the person to the side telling the story, the narrator of a performance, if you're doing the full bracket, that person's not doing it to self-aggrandize. They're doing it to facilitate the whole overall storytelling.
And I would have liked to seen him not actually do it, but be supported by the people who were doing the haka, and him just standing there being staunch. I think that has much more power than...
Well, it's a to me...
Than the performance.
The gut feeling, because I think this is what we're all coming back to, is that essentially, spiritually, it felt wrong. The focus was not on the collective representation.
I feel sick for him.
Yeah.
I feel embarrassed, actually.
Because you've got it there, because I think because he wasn't confident he was confident in little bits, and you can, like, new people are, you know, but the whole...
Got to hide at the back.
But also, like, why? I mean, the fact that he felt like he had to do it.
Yeah, I feel
to me
like
makes me feel. It makes me feel like he's just been like, oh, do this for a marketing ploy, kind of thing, rather than, let's do this properly.
So it's wonderful to promote Pasifika culture broadly, to and in some way to point out that kanaka Māori are our kazis, but. Our people who were involved in that too, they are really
good,
so maybe they felt pressured for it to roll out that way too, because generally I would expect that there would have been a wee voice inside at least one of their heads going,
this doesn't feel right.
This is not a very good idea.
Yeah, and that's what I was a bit concerned about too. But also my question being, he's Hawaiian. What say there was some Hawaiian tradition?
Of course there is.
That he, what I'm asking is, whose idea was it, and why was something that he identified with not a part of? Like, why? If it was about him, obviously it wasn't.
Why not make it about him?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was a Moana thing. Do you know what I mean? A kind of a blending of, like, a Hollywood smushing of cultures.
Because people see...
Because they're all people from Polynesia. Do you know what I mean? That was the idea, rather than a...
That's reasonable.
I don't know. That was my gut feeling. I was just like, oh, this is not really...
I mean, it's a reasonable...
I haven't seen...
theory.
I haven't seen overseas coverage, so that would be interesting to have a look about...
Yeah, I don't know where I saw...
overseas media has portrayed it.
Yes, because that can be real interesting too.
We can't forget that Hollywood is a capitalist juggernaut, and their job is to make the studio money and convince us that the world isn't going to hell in a handcart.
But I think also, let's go back to what's happened in film in the last year. There has been Moana, there has been Black Panther, there has been Tahu was doing stuff. So there is like this exoticizing that has been happening. I mean, I'm happy to see all those cultures actually, and to see representation and identities out there. But I am concerned that, again, there's this like smushing of everything together. So it's like globalization all over again of our cultures, but in a very specific, exoticized way. That's all.
That word exotic is fascinating for me, because it means exciting and that's something different, desirable. Yeah, but it also means from somewhere else.
That's right.
And we aren't from somewhere else.
No, but for Hollywood, we are from somewhere else.
Yes.
We're
but
very
also
much from somewhere else.
From California, that's also part of our takiwa, We've been known to be sailing up and back for a rather long time.
I know that. But if we look at the actual Hollywood popular culture, it's only in recent times that we've actually been seeing representation of other cultures. So that's kind of what I'm...
There's representation, but it's not from us.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And that's the crux, because...
That's what we were going to say.
Yeah, because I'll show you... I'll post a couple of links to some representation in games. Two examples. One's
online
really
gaming?
Yeah.
Video gaming?
Yeah. Yes. Which has a far more reach than popular media.
And I guess that's why we're saying who
tells those stories.
Who was behind it? Like, how did this come about? Because that, I think, makes a difference to how you... what I'm saying is we have picked up on nuances that don't feel right, and that suggests that it was someone other than...
That's right. But we're educated to, in two at least two ways of thinking.
Yeah, that's right.
We've got the benefit of hindsight of being born in the early 70s, so we've been around for a while. Most of those consumers the movie franchises and the games won't have either.
No, they don't.
No. So even though there's a massively broad reach, that they won't know to question that that's a globalisation of our identity, and that somebody else has said, dude, go forward. And he might have gone, I don't really feel good about this. We don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And I think, like, it's more, let's look at the detail of this, or let's, like, raise it. We're not saying that sucks, because, again, there's been some kind of, you know, acknowledgement of those cultures in a weird way. But, you know, what is actually behind this? How... Yeah, just questions. Yeah. Questions.
Yeah,
I think your example of Moana, which I really liked.
Yeah,
the monster that is Disney, I really liked. Te Waka being so involved in the music, and all the Polynesian and Māori who helped develop the story and bring it into te reo and other indigenous languages. But then you have the side arm of advertising where they had costumes, you know, the Maui. You can't wear other people's skins as a dress-up costume. And
I think it's a good time to, like, acknowledge that. I mean, for me, I love Moana. I loved that movie. I wanted to not love it. But I love that movie, and I think a lot of it, you know, if I was a little girl, I wished for that kind of stuff when I was a little girl, because it was about, again, representation and seeing things that were familiar to me represented on screen. Even though all those cultures are smushed together, there was still an element of feeling like, oh, that doesn't feel so far away from who I am.
That the coconuts, was that a solo story? The coconuts.
That's bizarre.
What was the coconuts again?
The pirate coconuts that attacked them.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
That was strange.
That was real weird. I was like, what is this?
Pirate demon coconuts.
Not from any of your stories.
Oh, I mean, we've got all kinds of demon stories, so that's... I mean, you know. I'm not really sure where they got that from, but...
the sidekick story too.
With the University of South Pacific, there were quite a few... academics that were involved with the process, and particularly in Fiji. So who knows where that's come from?
We need to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Why Hei Hei and not Moa? Because Hei Hei's horse. Hey.
Oh, Hei Hei, chicken.
Yeah. Why not Moa, like it is in most of the islands, including ours, except ours were giant?
Tastes like chicken.
Do you think it does? Do you think it tastes like chicken?
I think it probably tasted like chicken.
Imagine that at your celebration, a Moa leg.
That's right.
I think you'd be.
That's why I think they got absolutely obliterated, because there became this process of...
delicacy.
Well, it was an abattoir all along this coastline. That's how I see it. And the meat was going back to wherever they come from. You imagine that. You turn up here, you see this. Yeah, you're going to eat one, obviously. But you keep the bone, and then you go back to Raro or Sa or wherever your, departure village is, and you're like, call that a moa? And then you pull out your drumstick. This is a moa. Hey, I reckon that would be like this clambering for... There would have been a massive trade in it. I'm sure of it.
Let us be well.